By Francisco Bencosme, Asia Pacific Advocacy Manager at Amnesty International. Thanks so much for joining us, Francisco. Firstly, if you can just outline how significant and unusual is this case, given the fact that states generally are quite reluctant to accuse each other of genocide, and what is the role of the Gambia here?
Right. This is extremely significant. It's the first time since August 2017 that we've seen the real steps on accountability and justice with respect to the Rohingya atrocities that were committed. Ultimately, the International Court of Justice has not heard a case with respect to the Genocide Convention. The fact that Gambia, a state that is not at all really even in the region or at all impacted by the actions that were taken by Myanmar, make it all the more significance. And the fact that they got all countries of the Islamic Organization Cooperation to go along with it to file this case through the ICJs is also very significant.
So the suffering of the Rohingya is being tested in court, but what needs to be demonstrated exactly to amount to genocide?
So there has to be state obligation to be able to prevent genocide. And so the first thing that has to be proven is that genocide occurred. And so in order for that to take place, there needs to be not only widespread and systemic nature of crimes committed, things like rape or torture or mass murder, but also the intent of that state in order to having committed those crimes against a particular group of people.
So can you outline some of those crimes that will be outlined? What is Myanmar or Aung San Suu Kyi accused of committing?
Yeah, so by the United Nations fact-finding mission, by media, and by other human rights groups, there have been multiple crimes under international law that Myanmar has been accused of. Amnesty International has not made an accusation of genocide. We have gone so far as to call it crimes against humanity. What we determined by interviewing multiple and hundreds of Rohingya and other ethnic minorities is that there was a systemic and widespread nature of intent and sort of intent by military officials and by the military as an institution all the way high to the commander-in-chief to try to basically eradicate the Rohingya population in certain parts.
Okay, so we're running out of time, so I'll squeeze two questions into one if you don't mind. Aung San Suu Kyi will be delivering her defence tomorrow based on the fact that she says that it was justified terrorism response or response to terrorism. How might she align that argument to these allegations, and also depending on what the outcome is of this court appearance, what will it mean for the Rohingya people on the ground?
I think that the court is going to take, unfortunately, we expect to take a long time for it to actually make its final conclusion. So the best I think we're kind of hoping for in the short term are provisional agreements that call for a cessation of the state, in this case Myanmar, to do any crimes committed against the Rohingya. I think that the fact that multiple, including the United Nations, have found that it is not justified, that it is disproportionate response to any kind of violence makes Aung San Suu Kyi's claim about terrorism completely incomprehensible.
If there is genocide, will there be some sort of compensation? Will the people be able to return back to Myanmar?
So that's up to the International Court of Justice to decide. Okay. But there have been cases of reparations in the past.
Okay, Francisco, thanks very much for your time. Francisco Bencosme there for us.